the Shady Pines guys, Steve and Dwayne.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Shady Pines guys. I'm Steve.
And I'm Dwayne.
And today we're going to bring you lots more good stuff for our second edition. We'll have more Soap Dish. We're going to have a glimpse into the DC universe with Dwayne. And he's also going to bring us some more music gems and a few more surprises probably too. We'll see when we get there. How you been doing, Dwayne?
I'm doing great, Steve. Glad to be here. How about yourself?
Good. Not too bad. I wanted to tell you something before we get started.
Okay.
I hit some stores this morning because I'm a sucker for Christmas and I try to find all the Christmas stuff on sale. So I was going to a few different stores, but I was in one of the stores and I wear my mask everywhere I go.
Me too.
Like, just because I don't even want to catch a flu or a cold or nothing. You know what I mean?
Me too.
Well, so there was this older couple, not too much older, but older than me. And they're the lady's saying something to her husband. And I think it's about my mask. And I'm just trying to ignore them. And then she looks over at me and she says, "Why are you still wearing your mask? There's no more COVID." And I looked at her. Her husband looked shocked. And I said, "I have to wear it because I'm ugly. Where's yours?" And her husband started laughing and said, "I told you to mind your own business."
Well, there is a huge breakout of COVID again in the European countries. So, if it's there, it's going to be headed our way. So
yeah,
wear a mask and be safe and make sure you're vaccinated.
What's that hurt? Just be safe, just take a few precautions. Yeah, it's no big deal.
If not for yourself, do it for others.
Exactly.
I'm going to introduce a new feature today. It's called Meanwhile in the DC Universe. And there's been a big upset in the theatrical division of the DC Universe. It looks like Wonder Woman 3 is a no-go. And that's since James Gunn and Peter Safran took over as the new architects of the DC movie universe. So apparently Gal Gadot is out. And prior to what we heard earlier, Henry Cavill is also not scheduled for another Superman movie. James Gunn and Peter Safran have decided to concentrate on a movie with a much younger Superman. So obviously Superman will be played by someone else. The good news is that several DC movies that were in the making are still on the go. There's Joker 2 that will have Lady Gaga as Harley Quinn. Ooh. There's the Shazam family movie that's coming. There's Aquaman 2 is still up for grabs. And The Flash with Ezra Miller is still getting released, although Henry Cavill and Gal Gadot had parts in it that have been now edited out of the film. And if you're in the comic store, Dark Crisis 7 just finished, so the DC Universe goes on another reboot, regrouping again. So I think everything will be starting with new storylines here soon. I understand there will no longer be a Justice League comic book. And I find that a little upsetting because Justice League has always been one of the mainstays of the DC Comics staple. And apparently they are now going to concentrate on a Teen Titans as their main team title. And Teen Titans has always been very popular and stuff, but still you just can't top Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Flash, and Green Lantern that are the Justice League. I mean, That's about 5 of DC's most popular characters. So I will miss a Justice League title, whether anyone else does or not. And that's about all the news I had to share with you about the DC Universe. Wonder Woman 800 will be coming in a few months, so gear up for that. And back to you, Steve.
Thank you. I know how big you are with the Justice League. That's kind of a sad thing to hear.
Yes.
Soap Dish.
All right. Well, now I think maybe, do you want to talk about some Soap Dish?
Okay.
Because I know there's a lot of interesting things that have been happening that you were going to talk about.
Yes. Well, now in our soap dish for today, uh, I'd like to comment on the exciting plot development with Sheila looks like she's a free woman again on The Bold and the Beautiful. And as a big Kimberly Brown, Sheila Carter fan, I can't say I'm excited to have her free again and not having to hide in the shadows and stuff, so she can do her usual mischievous deeds to
Mhm.
people and get away with it this time.
Yes.
Hopefully Brad Bell has learned not to let her get caught so she can continue to stay on the show and be a regular part of the cast.
She's definitely the star of that show. That's all there is
Absolutely.
to it.
Absolutely. And the people that dislike her need to realize, all soaps that are left on are, really dependent on every viewer they can get for staying on the air. And Sheila brings a large group of people at higher rating numbers. And those people that hate her, they need to realize, hey, without her, you might be pulling the whole plug on the whole show. You never
Hmm.
know what might happen if they wrote her out. Uh, it could really devastate the show's ratings. And these days, you have to get every viewer you can get just to stay on.
Well, and it's nothing on Kimberly Brown. It's actually a lot on her because I think a lot of times that people say, "Oh, I can't stand Sheila." It's not. They're not saying they don't like the acting. That character, it gets to
Exactly.
them, and that's the whole point because it's drama. Otherwise, it's a whole half hour of Brooke and Taylor holding hands and singing "Kumbaya."
Exactly. Exactly. And I would also like to have a special birthday shout out. They've passed, the birthdays have passed now, but I'd like to have a special birthday shout out to Larry Brigman, who played
Mm.
Dr. John Dixon on As the World Turns. His birthday was on December 21st. I'd like to shout out to Miss Elizabeth Hubbard, the incomparable uh, queen of As the World Turns, who Lucinda Walsh. Her birthday was December 22nd. And Martha Byrne, the only Lily that there truly is to many of
Mm.
us, her birthday was December 23rd. So we wish all of those people a happy birthday. I would also like to tell everyone some sad news today. Um,
Mm.
Rita McLaughlin Walter, who played Carol Deming, Hughes, Stallings, Andropoulos for about 12 years on As the World Turns. She has passed away,
Mm.
and she had had a bout with cancer, and we will all miss her. And we wish her family the best during this difficult
Mm.
time. It's always hard to lose someone, but during the holidays, I think that's even worse.
Yeah, yeah. Yes, definitely condolences to her family and friends.
And now back to you, Steve.
Thanks a lot, Dwayne. You mentioned birthday, so I need to do a belated shout out to my granddaughter, the oldest one, Maya. She turned 11 on the 15th, or actually the 16th, I'm sorry, of December. She was due on the 15th, and they went into labor on the 15th, but she showed up shortly after midnight on the 16th. So I guess, but I can't believe I have a grandkid that's 11 years old already.
Yeah, I can't either.
I think
I
the last time you
remember
go ahead.
the last time I saw the kids, they were like 7 and 8 years old.
That's what I was gonna say. The last time you saw my kids, yeah, they were about that age. So that's weird.
Yeah.
Dwayne, I guess you got another great music gem selection for us this week.
Now it's time for Music Gems.
Yes, Steve, I do have another music gem to you, and we're going to turn this week to it's kind of an overlooked gem. We're going to turn to Buck Owens. His musical legacy is often overlooked because he was on Hee Haw and because the show was kind of corny and laughy and jokey. Some people don't take Buck Owens's musical legacy as serious as they should. And to me, he was the greatest country singer of all time was Buck Owens. And the album I recommend today is Buck Owens' Bridge Over Troubled Water. A lot of Buck's fans hated this album, and they were country purists and they didn't like that Buck was singing these pop songs. but Buck sings Bridge Over Troubled Water. There's a few Buck originals on here. There's also Catch the Wind, a Bob Dylan song. There is Homeward Bound, Simon and Garfunkel again. He does Simon and Garfunkel's I Am a Rock. And I must say, I never have ever had a Simon and Garfunkel's greatest hits, because when I hear these songs, I hear Buck singing them.
Hmm.
It's just such a great album. He proved how much talent he had, that he could also turn to pop and be uh, have a very uh, good recording. It may have not been the biggest seller, but to me, it's my favorite Buck Owens album, and that's my music gem for today.
Hey, I was one of those people, you know, that when we were discussing this before, that I immediately, of course, think of Hee Haw and kind of get locked in on that
The
whole. I
corny.
Yeah, I don't even want to say a persona. I think he was himself, but he was just being cheesy for the show for what it was, which
Exactly.
was big in a lot of our lives, though.
Yeah, the show was a every Saturday night staple in our home till, well, till it went off the air.
Uh-huh.
And like I said, a lot of people shortchange his musical legacies, but he had so many number one hits that were, just musical masterpieces. He had Act Naturally, which was recorded by the Beatles on one of their early albums. They saw the talent in Buck and his songs, and he had so many other songs like Sweet Rosie Jones and
Hmm.
It Takes People Like You to Make People Like Me and Excuse Me, I Think I Got a Heartache. All of those songs are classics in their own right. But for those who may not have ears for country, I will make my recommendation for the Buck Owens Bridge Over Troubled Water album. It's a great album.
We'll definitely have to check that out, and you can, I guess you can probably check if you can find a link on YouTube or something. You could throw that up there on our Facebook page and
Oh, what a great idea, Steve.
let people get the experience and to think outside that hee haw box.
Exactly, Steve. That's a great idea, because everybody seems to lock him in that he box,
Mhm.
and he was much more than just that show.
Oh, Dwayne, I wanted to tell you about something. I have that little part-time job. I work at the dump down the road,
Oh
and
yes,
and I only do that because I like to grab stuff out of there. I find so much good stuff down there, so I get
I'd have
paid to look for stuff.
I'd have my house full if I worked
Uh,
that.
I was going to say yes. If we would live closer together, we would be definitely have a field day all the time with that with that place. But one of the unfortunate things about it is, for some reason, people dump their animals around there too, like when we're closed and stuff. And we've had so many cats. There's been some dogs, but the dogs we figured them out and got them taken care of. But the cats are a little more difficult. They don't usually come up to people for help. They kind of do their thing, and we've had several litters of kittens. And there's a lady that comes by that tries to catch them. And we feed them every day. Us workers there, and then she's been setting up traps to try to catch them. And we finally got down to two cats, and then the other day she caught one, so there's one more left, but it's a male, and that'll be difficult. But the one she caught was something they call a seal point tortie, and it kind of looks like a calico Siamese cat. It's hard to
Ah,
explain. It's very unusual looking. It's got like Siamese colors as far as that
yes,
kind of. Yeah, yeah.
I saw in the picture you sent me of the cat. Yeah, I mistook it for Siamese.
Yes, yeah, but you see that it's got those splotches like a calico sort of and darker.
Yeah, I saw that too.
So she took that to the vet yesterday, and it checked out okay, and they think it's around 3 years old. They actually think it may have been fixed too, but it was not chipped, and they can't figure out where it came from. So we're thinking about adopting it. I don't. I
Wonderful.
After my little Benny passed in May, I was like, I don't know if I want any more pets, and the chickens keep me busy enough. But uh, Percy kind of wants a cat, and I'm like, yeah, maybe. So we're thinking about it, and then So we'll find out. I'll figure it out in a couple of days if it's really what we want to try to do. But part of me is getting excited about it too, though. So it's
Oh
probably going to
yes,
end up happening.
a pet is always exciting to get one.
Yes,
It's
yes.
it's a they can often be a lot of company, and if you're upset, just sometimes
Hmm.
petting them can be just a great stress relief. And I know you'll love getting a cat because I've had them before, and they're wonderful animals.
Yeah, I haven't had a cat since the kids always wanted cats, and we ended up with dogs later too. But the cats was like the easiest thing, working all the time to kind of teach
Take care
kids.
of.
Yeah, yeah, and it's easier for kids to learn, and there's a little bit less to it. And actually, they both still have cats to this day. But I have been catless since they left home, so we'll see. But you talk about the pets, making you feel better, and I always talked to my Benny all the time, constantly. And I know I've been on the phone with you, and you'll talk to your baby too.
Oh yes, I do. She's very smart. She knows. She usually sleeps with me at night, and in the morning when I get up, all I have to say is it's time to get up. And even if she's sound asleep, she'll pop out of that bed. And Lord, I try to hide from her when I'm getting ready to go somewhere because she can't stand
Oh.
to see me out of her sight. But I do have her a bit spoilt, and I've had her 6 years. Her official name is Princess Baby Gaga, after Lady Gaga, but I basically call her Baby or Baby Gaga all the time
Hmm.
because she's just such a baby. It's just like having a kid. Somebody wants children and can't have them, get you a Chihuahua. It's the next best thing.
She's
And
definitely cutie patootie.
absolutely she is. And I would also like to do a shout out now to the groups that I am administrator of. We have As the World Turns, Memories Last a Lifetime. We have As the World Turns Forever Facebook fan group, the As the World Turns Always Facebook fan group. Plus, we have Bold and the Beautiful, the Ultimate fan group. And I wanted to thank my members of those groups. They gave me some things they would like me to talk about on the show in the future. And one of the ideas that one of my members recommended was, how come on the Bold and the Beautiful, we only hear about Taylor and Ridge's family and their kids? And it seems like even the writer has forgotten Brooke and Ridge's son, RJ. And he's never mentioned. They act like Brooke had no children by Ridge, basically.
Hmm.
And I thought that was I wanted to thank that member for bringing that up because I had thought of that too. And I certainly appreciate all my members' inputs and stuff. So you can also join me at the Sheila Carter, Kimberlyn Brown Facebook fan group. And I also have the Elizabeth Hubbard, Lucinda of Walsh of As the World Turns Facebook fan group, and we have several other groups for some of the female stars, including Martha Byrne, Colleen Sink, uh, Eileen Fulton, and Mara West. So I hope some of you will visit my groups and check it out. And shout out to Angela. We couldn't do it without you. So
Nope, nope, nope.
thank you, Angela.
I also would like to mention our Facebook group, the Shady Pines guys, Steve and Dwayne, and people can pop on there too. They can find it through your
Yes,
soap groups or vice versa, and we'll put links to the episodes up there, and also other bits of information maybe that we've discussed on the show or feel are appropriate to pass on to our listeners.
that's correct, Steve. We try to think of topics that would be interesting, and I'm sure as the show grows and we go along and get more comfortable doing it, I'm
Hmm.
sure we'll have more varieties of talking, of course, of to talk about. But the show will probably get longer by that point too.
Yeah, too. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, because we don't want to bore people and be too long-winded now when they're just getting used to us. So
And we're both so good at that, aren't we?
yes, we are. Yes, we are.
Well, I guess that's a good point to wrap up this episode of the Shady Pines guys. And
So, Steve, I'd like to thank everybody that did listen for listening to us.
Thank you for saying that. Yes. And we hope they'll continue listening. Get other people to
Yes.
listen. Hey, you can listen even if you're wanting to kind of giggle because we're goofy or you think this is weird, do it. Just listen and we'll get
Just
more.
listen. Give us a chance out there. And
Yes.
we hope to have in the future some guests on to talk about different topics and things too.
Mhm.
So stick with us because it's only going to get better.
Yes, between Dwayne's connections in the soap world and my connections in the music world, and actually some connections in the comic book world, where once we get going and we're more comfortable in doing this, we do have a lot of ideas on very interesting guests. I think that will contribute a lot to our show, and I think the listeners will really enjoy it.
I think they will too, Steve.
All right. Well, everybody have a good evening, a good afternoon, a good morning, whatever you're going to have. And we hope you'll tune in next time for the Shady Pines guys with Steve.
See you then, guys.
And Dwayne. The Shady Pines guys with Dwayne and Steve. Copyright 2022. All rights reserved. Any unauthorized redistribution or reproduction of part or all of the contents in any form is strictly prohibited and will result in immediate legal action. We hope you'll join us again for the Shady Pines guys.